section 10.2, last example, number 6, the stronger picker-upper. I don't know if there are still commercials for this, but there used to be. In commercials for Bounty paper towels, the manufacturer claims that they are the quicker picker-upper. But are they also the stronger picker-upper? Two AP Statistics students, Lucy and Matan, decided to find out. They selected a random sample of 30 Bounty paper towels and a random sample of 30 generic paper towels and measured their strength when wet. To do this, they uniformly soaked each paper towel with 4 ounces of water, held 2 opposite edges of the paper towel, and counted how many quarters each paper towel could hold until ripping, alternating brands. Here are their results. Okay, and there are 30 data values for each, Bounty and generic. Use a significance test. That's a hint to do a significance test. To determine if there is convincing evidence that wet Bounty paper towels can hold more weight on average than wet generic paper towels. And part B, interpret the p-value from part A in the context of this question. So, we are going to first state the problem we are doing. So, state, let mu sub b equal the mean number of quarters. Mean number of quarters, because that's how strength is being measured. Mean number of quarters a wet Bounty towel can hold, and let mu sub g, and I'll just use quotes for generic towel. And so our null hypothesis is the thing we're going to assume to be true and try to reject is that the difference of means mu sub b minus mu sub g is equal to 0, meaning there is no difference. And the alternative hypothesis is that that Bounty is stronger, so the difference is greater than 0. At the alpha is the 0.05 significance level, since we're not given one. That will be our default. So that's the state plan, is we're going to say what we're doing. We're going to perform a two sample t-test for the, you could say, difference of means, or you could write in notation, if the 3 conditions are met, random, normal, independent. So random, do not do this on a test. Normal, both sample sizes are greater than 30. I'll write that for this. Both sample sizes greater than 30. So we don't need to graph it. If it weren't, then we would, and we would need to show it. And 3 independent. Okay, we're on to the do section already. Do. You would type in the numbers because you would not do it by hand. So you would find that the average for Bounty towels is 117.6 quarters, and the standard deviation for Bounty is 6.64 quarters, and for the generic, the mean is 88.1 of the samples, sample mean. The standard deviation of the samples was 6.30 quarters. So our test statistic T is going to equal, using the formula I gave earlier in the notes, we're going to do the difference of means, 117.6 minus 88.1 minus 0 as stated in our null hypothesis, over the square root of 6.64 squared over 30 plus 6.30 squared over 30. Both of our sample sizes were 30, and those were the sample standard deviations that we found. And you would get, for t, 17.64. What are the degrees of freedom? Degrees of freedom n minus 1, or 29. So on your calculator, to get the p-value, you would do this. You would do t CDF for t distribution. You want to find the area from 17.64 and above, because we said our alternative hypothesis was greater than 0. So you want to go from t is 17.64 to infinity, and the degrees of freedom are 29 on your calculator. So you'll get a very small number, 2.39 times 10 to the negative 17, which is essentially 0. So your p-value then is approximately 0. We're gonna go to the conclusion, and then I'll go back and show you how to do it on your the whole thing on your calculator. So the p-value is 0, and so we would conclude that there's two parts to your conclusion. You need to say, since the p-value is less than alpha 0.05, we can reject h0. And then in context, so we have convincing evidence. So on average, the paper towels can hold more. Paper towels can hold more weight. So there's our conclusion. And on the calculator, what we would do is we would go to, so this is on page 642, we're going to use 2 sample t-test. So you would go to first you would turn your calculator on, and then you would go to Stat, scroll over to Tests, and go down to 2 sample t-test, which is number 4 in the list. Hit Enter, and then you're going to use, I'm not going to use the data, I'm going to use stats this time. Enter, and then the mean for the bounty towels is 117.6. The standard deviation is 6.64. The number of in the sample was 30, and then for the generic, the mean of the samples was 88.1. Standard deviation 6.3. Number in the sample 30. You're going to use greater than, because you want greater than 0. And pooled is always going to be no for means. And then we're going to do calculate, enter, and notice our t, it gives us our t value, which you would write down 17.6. Our p value is very small, 2.9 times 10 to the negative 25. This is the degrees of freedom the calculator used, which is more accurate, so don't worry about how it came up with that. And that's all we need, really. Our p-value is what we're most interested in, so we can draw our conclusion.